Hey everyone, welcome back. This is Six Path Weeb, and today we're diving into an intriguing what-if scenario. What if Naruko had mastered the mind's eye? We'll break down how this ability could have reshaped battles, changed alliances, and influenced the story in unexpected ways. Disclaimer: the content on this channel is purely for entertainment and discussion. I do not own any of the anime footage used. All rights and credits go to their respective creators and copyright holders. Alright, let's jump right in. A rainy day in Konoha. It was a rainy day. Uzumaki Naruko, age 6, generally disliked such weather. The rain was cold, the air heavy, and it always seemed to make her loneliness feel sharper. Yet, there was one good thing about rainy days: hardly anyone was outside. On days like this, Naruko could walk freely without harsh words or unkind stares. In a strange way, the rain gave her peace. But on this particular day, Naruko was not alone. A traveler in a dark, midnight-colored cloak walked quietly through the wet streets of Konohagakure. His movements suggested he carried a heavy heart, as if the weight of the world pressed down on his shoulders. Without much direction, he wandered until he arrived at the small playground where Naruko had taken shelter beneath the tunnel slide. The man lowered himself onto one of the swings, moving back and forth absent-mindedly as though lost in thought. Eventually, the gentle swinging motion pushed his hood aside. His hair was short and snowy white, contrasting with his youthful face, though his eyes, golden and tired, hinted at years of hardship. He was tall, strong-looking, yet strangely gentle as he continued to swing in silence. Naruko, still curled under the slide, almost felt calm in his presence. But when he suddenly spoke, she jumped. "Hello there." His voice was steady, carrying neither judgment nor sharpness. "Don't worry, little one. I'm just passing through. Where are your parents? They must be worried about you." Naruko blinked, surprised. Most strangers avoided her, but this man's tone was kind. She stepped out hesitantly, her small face uncertain. I don't have any," she admitted softly. "Nobody really wants me here. They all call me something I'm not." The man studied her for a moment, then shook his head gently. "That's strange. I've seen many real monsters before. But you don't feel like one at all." Those words, simple as they were, struck Naruko deeply. Her eyes filled with tears, and before she could stop herself, she ran forward, clinging to the traveler tightly. The man froze, startled, as the little girl buried her face in his coat. "Hey now," he said awkwardly, "you'll get me all wet." Through sniffles, Naruko managed a smile. "Sorry. I'm just really happy. Thank you." Her bright grin shone through the rain, a genuine smile that could melt even the coldest heart. For the first time, someone had spoken to her with kindness. The man gave a faint but true smile in return and sat back down on the swing. Naruko joined him on the one beside it. "Why are you so sad, mister?" she asked, tilting her head. His expression dimmed again. "Because I've lost my friends. And every time I try to make new ones, it never works out. I miss them, and it makes me feel empty." Naruko frowned, then reached out her hand with determination. "Then I'll be your friend." The man blinked, surprised. "Just like that? Friendship doesn't usually happen so quickly." Naruko pouted. "Maybe not, but I want to be your friend. So that's that." For the first time in a long while, the man chuckled softly. He grasped her hand, warmth sparking between them. "All right then. Thank you. My name is Muhi Tatsu." "I'm Uzumaki Naruko," she said proudly. "Nice to meet you, Tatsu ni." Neither of them noticed the rain fading, the clouds parting as sunlight broke through. It was the beginning of something new. 5 years later. 5 years had passed since Naruko and Tatsu first met. During that time, Naruko had not been seen in Konoha. Only the third Hokage knew where she was, and whenever people asked, he would simply say, "Naruko is in a place where she is cared for, and where she can grow strong in both body and mind." No one quite understood his words, but they sensed it was best not to question further. Now, on this bright morning, a surprise awaited the village. A young girl was returning after what felt like a lifetime away. She walked with quiet confidence toward the Hokage tower, her long blonde hair flowing behind her and a gentle smile on her face. Though only 11, her presence was striking, and many villagers whispered in awe, for she carried a resemblance to the fourth Hokage. She wore a simple yet stylish outfit, an aviator jacket, a black shirt, loose pants, and sturdy sandals. The Naruko who returned looked different, more mature, her childish whisker-like marks gone. At the tower entrance, she greeted the guards politely before stepping inside. To some, it was as though she had vanished into thin air, but in truth, she had simply carried herself with quiet certainty. Inside, the Hokage was in the middle of a busy, tiring day when a cheerful voice suddenly rang out. "Tired, Oji-san? That's normal at your age, isn't it?" Startled, the old man spun around, kunai in hand, only to freeze. "Geez." The girl pouted. "That's not a very nice welcome after 5 years." The Hokage's eyes widened in joy. "Naruko? You've come back?" He rushed forward with a broad smile. "It's so good to see you again." Naruko smiled warmly. "I still want to be Hokage someday, Oji-san. And I can't do that without becoming a ninja, right?" The old man chuckled. "That dream of yours hasn't changed one bit. But what about your training?" "Tatsu-sensei said it's fine as long as I keep visiting him sometimes. He knows this is important to me," Naruko answered brightly. "So, did I make it in time to enter the academy?" "Yes, you did," the Hokage said with a laugh. "The academy starts tomorrow. Be ready." Naruko grinned. "Hi, Oji-san. I'll give it my all, Dadabayo." And with that, a new chapter in her life was about to begin. The third Hokage smiled warmly, feeling some of his earlier worries fade away. Then a thought struck him. "Wait a moment, Naruko. How did you manage to get past my guards?" Naruko tilted her head with a playful shrug. "It's not my fault your guards need more practice at spotting illusions. Or whatever the correct term is here." As Naruko walked away, the Hokage remained thoughtful, uncertain if she had truly mastered advanced illusion techniques or if it was something entirely different that he had yet to understand. For the next year, Uzumaki Naruko studied diligently at the Ninja Academy. She often referred to her lessons as ninja training, and she absorbed the knowledge with astonishing speed. While most students took months to a full year to learn basic chakra control, Naruko managed it in just a month. When asked about this, she explained vaguely that she had practiced something similar before, but never gave many details. Regardless, her progress was remarkable. Naruko learned the transformation technique, Henge no Jutsu, and the substitution technique, Kawarimi no Jutsu, within weeks. Her hand-to-hand combat skills, while not the strongest, showed impressive efficiency. Her movements wasted no energy. She often visited the academy library as well, reading books about the village's history and its people. However, Naruko struggled with one particular area, the clone technique, Bushin no Jutsu. Despite months of practice, she could not perfect it. After much meditation, even spending an entire day sitting calmly in thought, she realized the root of the issue was chakra control. While searching for help, Naruko found herself speaking to a classmate for the first time. "Sakura-san, may I walk with you for a moment?" Snapped out of her daydream about Sasuke, Haruno Sakura looked at Naruko in surprise. The usually quiet girl rarely spoke to anyone, and never directly to her peers. Sakura thought Naruko seemed kind, though a bit mysterious. She nodded in agreement, and the two began walking outside. "Yes, Naruko-san? What did you want?" Naruko shifted a little nervously. "I was wondering if you could tutor me in chakra control. The books I've read don't explain it as clearly as a person could, and I'd value your guidance with the methods I've been practicing." Sakura blinked in astonishment. The girl competing with Sasuke for top grades was asking her for help? It was flattering, but surprising. "Maybe," she said thoughtfully. "But I'd like something in return." Naruko tilted her head. "Oh? What would that be?" Sakura smiled a little. "Help me understand Sasuke-kun better. You're almost as talented as he is, maybe more, so you might know how someone like him thinks." Naruko gave a small smile. "So you'd like my help in understanding Uchiha-san and your feelings about him, is that correct?" Sakura nodded. "All right," Naruko agreed, pulling out a scroll. After drafting a small agreement, they both signed it. Naruko, eager to show sincerity, marked it with her thumb in a traditional way. Sakura looked surprised. "Naruko. You didn't have to go that far." Naruko smiled gently. "My mentor once told me that friendship begins with trust. I want you to know you can depend on me." Sakura's eyes widened. "You want to be my friend?" Naruko nodded softly. "Sakura-san, I wish I could be friends with everyone. I just don't always know how." Sakura's expression softened, and then she brightened with a cheerful smile, offering her hand. "I'm Haruno Sakura. Let's be friends, Naruko." Naruko's smile shone like sunlight, warming everything around her. Over the next 2 months, Sakura tutored Naruko in chakra control, and Naruko offered new insights that even helped Sakura improve. Together, they mastered techniques such as tree climbing and water walking, which were popular training methods among young shinobi. During this time, Sakura confided in Naruko that she sometimes felt insecure because she did not come from a notable ninja family. She wished she had a unique style of her own. Naruko asked her a simple but powerful question. If your control is so precise, why not create a style using chakra itself? That idea stayed with Sakura all night. Inspired, she experimented the next day and eventually shaped her chakra into a pointed spear that pierced cleanly through a wooden training post. Overjoyed, she shouted, "Yes! Chakra spear, success!" From that moment, Sakura felt deeply grateful to Naruko, knowing she had been the one to guide her toward finding her own strength. "You showed me the path, Naruko," Sakura said, hugging her friend tightly. Naruko smiled. "You discovered the talent yourself, Sakura-san. I only pointed the way." The two girls grew close friends, supporting each other as they trained. Sakura still admired Sasuke, but she also began to feel more confident in her own abilities. Whenever she achieved something new, Naruko always encouraged her with kind words. "It's no surprise to me, Sakura-san. Your name has always meant you would blossom beautifully." Hearing that, Sakura blushed, her heart fluttering in a way she couldn't quite explain. But back to the matter at hand. Naruko was preparing to fulfill her part of the agreement, and even Sakura, with her extensive knowledge of chakra, found herself puzzled. Naruko sat in a traditional meditation posture, her legs crossed, hands resting on her knees, and eyes gently closed. Bringing her palms together, a radiant white aura began to shimmer around her. The aura swirled gracefully, growing brighter and stronger as Naruko slowly rose to her feet and stepped toward Sakura. "Sakura-san, please close your eyes," Naruko said softly. After 2 months of training together, Sakura had grown to trust her friend completely, and so she complied without hesitation. The faint wisps of white energy that had previously floated upward into the air began to fade away. As Naruko extended her palms forward, the energy gathered and formed a golden, ethereal glow that danced across her hands. Before completing the technique, Naruko whispered gently, her voice barely audible. "Please forgive me, Sakura-san. At first, this may feel unusual, but I promise, it is a gift." She then placed her palms carefully against Sakura's forehead. The golden glow streamed downward, flowing in soft waves across Sakura's body. A gentle warmth spread through her, comforting and calming. When the glow finally settled, Sakura let out a small gasp and drifted peacefully into unconsciousness. Haruno Sakura slowly began to awaken. She realized she was not in the training field where she and Naruko had been earlier, but instead lying comfortably in her own soft bed. That familiar feeling of morning hesitation, when one knows sleep cannot continue, yet still wishes it could, washed over her as she opened her eyes. At first, her vision was blurred, but after blinking once or twice, the world around her became clear. Oddly enough, her heart felt unusually calm. She thought of Naruko. Yes. Naruko had done something to her, though Sakura trusted there was a meaningful reason behind it. After all, Naruko had helped her feel a sense of freedom. It was Sunday, so there was no academy to attend. Sakura's thoughts drifted, briefly, toward Sasuke. "Well, what about Sasuke?" she mused. As she gazed idly at the plain white ceiling, Sakura examined her feelings. Sasuke was talented, yes, and undeniably skilled as a shinobi. But his emotions? Nearly impossible to read. Was she truly drawn to him, or just to the image she had created in her mind? Did he ever show kindness freely? Not often. Did he speak warmly with others? Rarely. Was it admiration she felt, or only infatuation? That question struck her deeply. With a quiet breath, Sakura admitted to herself something she had resisted for a long time. She had been more fascinated by the idea of Sasuke than by Sasuke himself. She reflected, "I only wanted to prove I was strong, stronger than the girls who once teased me, stronger than Ino who had protected me." But was that truly strength? Or just pride? Even if I chased Sasuke's attention for years, would it truly matter to him? Or even to me? Her thoughts slowly circled back to Naruko. Naruko had once explained that their bond could be seen as either a curse or a blessing. In truth, it was both. Sakura had been upset that Naruko had acted without asking her first, but she could not deny that the experience had taught her a valuable lesson. Their agreement had never specified how Naruko should help her, it had only promised that she would. And Naruko was never the kind of person who would intentionally harm her. Despite her outward energy, Naruko was gentle, thoughtful, and far more considerate than Sakura had realized. She had supported Sakura's growth in ways the academy never had, adjusting training to meet her needs and encouraging her in her progress. Curiosity stirred again about the mysterious Tatsu whom Naruko often mentioned. Tatsu-sensei always says to be kind when meeting new people. Tatsu-sensei says to treat everyone with respect, especially those who seem special to you. Tatsu-sensei helped shape who I am today. Sakura imagined this mentor as a wise figure living far away in the mountains, perhaps a monk or a sage. The thought of Naruko meditating silently with a shaved head made Sakura stifle a giggle. Her musings ended, however, when her stomach growled, reminding her it was time for breakfast. After enjoying a fuller meal than usual, now mindful that more energy would support her training, Sakura set out to find Naruko. She knew Naruko's home was somewhere near the eastern part of the village, but after searching for some time, she discovered Naruko at their training ground instead. There stood Naruko, leaning against a wooden post, though her usual bright smile was absent. Instead, she looked troubled. Sakura approached with a hint of concern. "Naruko." "Hi." Naruko looked up, tears glistening in her eyes. "Sakura-san. I'm sorry. I should never have interfered with your thoughts, even if I only meant to help. You're my first, and best, friend." Words tumbled from her in a flood of guilt until Sakura, unable to bear seeing her like this, called upon her inner Sakura for strength. "Get a hold of yourself. Shanaro." Her outburst startled Naruko out of her sadness, and before the blonde girl could react further, Sakura stepped forward and embraced her warmly. "Next time you want to help me, just ask first, okay?" Naruko nodded softly. Sure." Sakura felt a new sense of lightness, both from her own realization of strength and from helping Naruko out of her worry. Determination surged within her. "Say, Naruko, do you have any other ideas for how we can get stronger?" she asked. Naruko's expression brightened, her familiar smile returning. As a matter of fact. Though both had already met the requirements for Jinan, they continued to push themselves. Naruko's chakra control grew sharper, though the delicate Bushin no Jutsu remained beyond her reach, its precise control required almost impossible finesse. Instead, she devised her own clever variation, illusions convincing enough to trick observers. When Sakura asked how she had learned such a method, Naruko simply answered, "Tatsu taught me." Meanwhile, Sakura advanced her own techniques. Building upon the chakra spear concept, she crafted an impressive range of chakra-based weapons, a whip, a shield, a barrier, a sword, a bow and arrow, and even a massive mallet. Though they focused on physical impact, their versatility made them highly effective. She also developed chakra threads, which allowed her to restrict movements, trip opponents, or immobilize them in battle. Her stamina improved through frequent sparring with Naruko. Yet even during their matches, Sakura sensed that Naruko was holding back slightly, as though she could almost predict Sakura's every move. And so, side by side, the two friends grew stronger with each passing day. Still, she was very pleased with the progress she had made. After another month of training, Sakura made a bold decision. She officially challenged Ino to an exhibition match. It wasn't for prizes or titles, but simply to see who had grown stronger. Word spread quickly, and Iruka-sensei decided to make it a special event at the academy, inviting parents and families to watch. To everyone's surprise, the audience included not only parents but also several jounin, a few chonin, some onbu members, and even the Hokage himself. As was customary for a shinobi exhibition, each competitor needed a second. Ino, of course, asked Sasuke, who politely declined. Reluctantly, Shikamaru was brought in to support her. Sakura, however, surprised many by choosing Naruko as her second. The two had discussed it beforehand, and Naruko had encouraged Sakura to show everyone just how much she had grown. The atmosphere was filled with excitement as the two girls stepped onto the field. Ino gave a confident grin. "I'm surprised you challenged me, forehead girl. I hope you're ready to lose." Sakura, her long hair tied into a braid, remained calm. "Ino, I'll show you that I've become stronger than you think." Ino blinked at Sakura's composure. Where was the timid girl who once clung to her during tough times? Where was the classmate who turned everything into a small competition? Trying to shake her rival's confidence, Ino smirked. "Once this is over, Sasuke-kun will choose me." Sakura simply shrugged, her voice steady. "If you want Sasuke, that's fine. I've realized that chasing him isn't my path anymore. He can do as he wishes, but I won't waste my strength trying to earn something that isn't meant for me." The crowd went silent at Sakura's words. Iruka-sensei himself had to double-check that this was indeed Sakura speaking, and not someone using a transformation technique. Shikamaru, Kuji, Kiba, and Shino exchanged surprised looks, then nodded in newfound respect. Naruko smiled brightly, proud of her friend's growth. Growing impatient, Sakura tapped her foot. Iruka-sensei, shall we begin? Snapping back to focus, Iruka cleared his throat and announced the rules. This will be a single-round exhibition match between Haruno Sakura and Yamanaka Ino. You may use tools, taijutsu, ninjutsu, and genjutsu. Victory is achieved if one competitor can no longer continue or chooses to forfeit. There is no time limit. Are both fighters ready? Both nodded with determination. Very well. Begin. The girls quickly leapt back to create space. Sakura started by throwing shuriken and kunai, not at Ino directly, but into the surrounding area, embedding them in the ground, trees, and posts. Confused, Ino hesitated before weaving hand seals. At that moment, Sakura enhanced her jump with chakra and launched herself high into the air. Ino countered by tossing kunai, but Sakura skillfully substituted with a log at the last second. Kawarimi? Ino muttered, barely having time to register the sound of footsteps behind her. Chakra enhanced strike. Sakura's voice rang out. Ino felt herself stumble backward as Sakura's chakra-driven push knocked her off balance. Landing on her hands and knees, Ino coughed lightly, trying to rise again. She quickly used Bushin no Jutsu to create illusions for cover. Minutes passed before Sakura reappeared, descending from above. Around her hands shimmered glowing chakra threads connected to the scattered weapons she had placed earlier. The audience gasped in awe. Ino, I don't want you to get hurt. Please, just forfeit, Sakura said earnestly. Realizing she was at a disadvantage and impressed by Sakura's growth, Ino sighed, lifted her hand, and declared. I, Yamanaka Ino, concede. Iruka smiled warmly, his voice proud. Winner, Haruno Sakura. The crowd erupted into cheers, applauding both girls for their skill and courage. Sakura walked forward, extending her hand to help Ino stand. Her expression was kind, not boastful. That was a good match, Ino-chan. Gaping slightly but smiling warmly, Ino shook her friend's hand. Sakura-chan. How did you become so strong? She asked curiously. With a gentle smile, Sakura replied, everyone has the potential to grow, Ino. I just had someone guide me, and it made more difference than I ever expected. Who guided you? Ino asked in surprise. Sakura simply pointed to a cheerful Naruko standing in the crowd. Uzumaki Naruko? The quiet one? Yes. You might want to talk with her sometime. She has thoughts worth listening to. And with that, Sakura ended the conversation. Meanwhile, the crowd whispered among themselves. Sakura seemed so much more confident than before. I wonder how she got so strong? Kiba remarked with a grin. Yeah, I thought Ino would have beaten her for sure, right Shikamaru? Kuji said through a mouthful of his favorite kettle chips. Sigh. Girls are always complicated, Shikamaru muttered, but I'll admit Sakura's planning in that match was impressive. Yes. Her coordination surprised me, Shino added, saying more than his usual few words. And Naruko simply smiled with pride. At the same time, 4 Jounin were quietly debating among themselves while the third Hokage listened with an amused expression. Their discussion centered around which team Sakura might join after graduation. In Mitogai's case, he dramatically declared how wonderful it would be for a bright blossom of springtime to support his students' youthful flames of passion. She could help my student Tenten by learning how to use chakra threads to control her weapons with even more precision. Guy proclaimed enthusiastically. Kurenai and Asuma exchanged looks, clearly unconvinced by Guy's dramatic reasoning. Kakashi, who had been reading one of his favorite novels, barely looked up. You say something, Guy? He asked lazily. Guy blinked in disbelief while the others calmly continued. Her chakra control would make her a perfect student for genjutsu, and I could connect with her more easily as a fellow woman, Kurenai explained. Yes, but I could train her in advanced weapon techniques myself, Asuma countered. Kakashi shrugged. I could teach her a little bit of everything. Everything? Like tardiness and strange eating habits? Kurenai teased sharply. The Hokage, who had been listening quietly, finally raised his voice. That's enough. You all know the final team decisions are mine. I will ensure Haruno Sakura is placed on a balanced team, as tradition requires. Understood? The Jounin lowered their heads respectfully. Yes, Hokage-sama. Later, Sakura ran up to Naruko and hugged her tightly. "Thank you, Naruko, for helping me grow stronger. Is there anything I can do for you in return?" she asked sincerely. Naruko, feeling proud and joyful for helping someone discover her own strength, responded with a bright smile. "Could you help me make more friends like you?" At first Sakura thought the request was unusual, but then she realized Naruko had very few social skills and didn't truly know how to build friendships. Their own bond had been formed almost by accident, but it had turned out well. Seeing how Naruko's way of encouraging and guiding her had worked, Sakura decided it could be a wonderful approach for others, too. Most of the academy students still struggled in many areas. Many of the kunoichi had focused more on impressing Sasuke than on training properly. The only other one who stood out was Hinata Hyuga, whose shyness made Sakura think she might connect well with Naruko. The boys weren't much better, many were more interested in showing off than in real growth. Only the clan heirs, like Shikamaru, Kuji, Shino, and Kiba, seemed genuinely dedicated. They were the ones Sakura thought Naruko could get along with. So, she invited them all to join her and Naruko for practice sessions, curious to see what Naruko's quiet but insightful guidance could bring out in them. Most agreed, though Shikamaru mostly came out of curiosity. When Kiba first trained with Naruko, he was doubtful she could show him anything new. But during a friendly spar, Naruko's speed and quick thinking revealed that Kiba relied too heavily on teamwork with Akamaru and needed more variety in his individual skills. Naruko, always calm, asked him just one simple question afterward. "Akamaru is your partner, Kiba. Don't you want to make sure he's always safe?" That question stayed with Kiba. The next day, he asked Naruko for advice. Naruko smiled and handed him a scroll with his name on it. Inside was a list of carefully thought out tips, the first of which read: Tip 1. The foundation of a shinobi is often stealth and the power of a well-placed surprise. I may not be the best at stealth myself, but seek someone who can help you with it. It will become one of your greatest strengths. Tip 4. If the Inuzuka clan can use chakra to enhance their sense of smell, why not use it to strengthen their other senses as well? Hearing, touch, and even taste have important applications in the field. I would not suggest focusing on vision, though, since the Hyuga clan already specializes in that ability. To make the training more effective, try practicing exercises while blindfolded. Tip 6. Your natural speed is one of your greatest strengths. To build upon it, try training with light weights. You can find them quite easily at equipment shops, and over time, this will help you move even faster. Tip 9. Experience often teaches a shinobi more than solo practice. Seek sparring partners, yes, more than one. Training with a variety of teammates will help you adapt and grow stronger. Tip 12. Your Tsuuga move demonstrates skill in rotational techniques. Experiment further with this, perhaps spinning while stationary, creating a defensive rotation similar to a whirlwind. This might help you redirect projectiles or incoming attacks. Just be mindful not to name it kaiden, as that term belongs to another clan's technique. A week later, Kiba arrived wearing training weights. Though he looked tired, his cheerful smile showed how much progress he had made. Behind him came Haruno Sakura, equally worn out but satisfied, and lastly, the graceful figure of Uzumaki Naruko. As Kiba took his seat, he calmly tied on a blindfold, eager to begin his next challenge. For the past 3 months leading up to the Academy's graduation exam, Naruko had become surprisingly popular. The once quiet student teacher had impressed not only her classmates, but also Iruka-sensei, the Hokage, and even several experienced jounin. Some might have expected Iruka to feel overshadowed, yet he never let that bother him. Naruko never taught just anyone, her focus was always on students who showed determination. Iruka himself once admitted he admired her patience and unique teaching style. From that day onward, he realized that although Naruko was not the most talkative student, she was without doubt the most unpredictable. Through friendly sparring, trading ideas, and, at Sakura's suggestion, going out for meals together, Naruko gradually built strong friendships. Some classmates only approached her because she was well known, so she usually shared with them only basic training scrolls. But as she spent more time with people she trusted, Naruko learned that she did not need everyone's approval, just the companionship of those who truly cared about her. Impressed by how Naruko had encouraged Sakura and helped Kiba focus more, Yamanaka Ino invited her to lunch one afternoon, joined by Shikamaru and Kuji. After explaining her own fighting style, Ino was surprised when Naruko asked Kuji and Shikamaru about their abilities as well. Kuji spoke shyly at first but gradually opened up, while Shikamaru sighed and muttered that it sounded too troublesome. Naruko then asked him if he enjoyed playing shogi. Shikamaru, usually unshakable, looked startled before giving a small nod. The next day, Naruko presented personalized scrolls to both Ino and Kuji, and she began a playful rivalry with Shikamaru over shogi matches. Shikamaru, curious despite himself, wondered why he had agreed to something he had called troublesome. Around the same time, Hyuga Hinata, with Sakura's encouragement, gathered the courage to ask Naruko for advice. During a sparring session, Naruko realized Hinata's greatest challenge was not skill, but confidence. Hinata overthought every move, worrying too much about being considered weak. Naruko chose a different approach, guiding Hinata through meditation and focus exercises. Slowly, Hinata began sparring more often, and after several close matches, and even some victories, her confidence grew. One day, a smiling Hinata thanked Naruko sincerely, and Naruko could only nod in quiet surprise, touched but unsure how to respond. Although Naruko enjoyed shogi from time to time, her other habits amused her friends. Whenever she wasn't studying, training, or resting, she could almost always be found reading manga. On one survival exercise, she filled her entire backpack with storybooks because she was following 5 different series at once. She also loved movies and good food. Unlike the stereotype of her being obsessed with ramen, her teacher Tatsu-sensei had gently encouraged her, back around her 9th birthday, to broaden her tastes. The last student to request Naruko's help was Shino. At first, Naruko struggled to determine what guidance to offer him. After a long sparring session, the two disappeared for several days of quiet training. When they returned, Shino surprised everyone by bowing respectfully, while Naruko looked embarrassed at the public display of gratitude. As for Uchiha Sasuke, he never asked for Naruko's help. When her friends questioned her about it, they were surprised to see, for the very first time, a flicker of genuine dislike in Naruko's expression. Meanwhile, Naruko herself continued refining everything she knew, even beginning to study the art of sealing. Her interest started when she borrowed a book on making advanced tags from Iruka-sensei, and from there, she pursued sealing with great enthusiasm. Finally, the big day arrived, the academy graduation exams. The Jounin instructors who were assigned to select students found themselves puzzled, since the graduates had grown far beyond what they had expected. At the Hokage's request, and remembering Sakura's impressive match months before, something special was arranged to take place once the exams concluded. The recent graduates were preparing for a grand exhibition tournament. Excitement buzzed through the air as the students eagerly awaited their chance to showcase their training and skills. The prize was no ordinary reward, it was a treasured lightning release technique, admired for its rarity and difficulty. Whispers also spread among the participants. The champion might even receive the honor of a private lesson with Hokage-sama, a privilege beyond compare. For many, this was more than a competition, it was an opportunity to shine and take their first true step forward as shinobi. Naruko, brimming with determination, stood among her peers, ready to prove her spirit and hard work. Dear YouTube family, that's all for now. If you enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel. Your encouragement means the world and helps me keep creating more content for you. Thank you for being part of this journey. Regards. 6 Path Weeb.